Let's all collectively acknowledge that the world is really, really hard. And it is particularly difficult sometimes for some women to remain feminine and soft in a very hard world. The first thing I need for everyone to understand is you are feminine. I do not believe in femininity coaches who say you become feminine because you are already feminine. What often happens is that your femininity, your feminine spirit gets covered in mud. It becomes hardened. You can't even see it. It's like a diamond. You don't teach a diamond how to become a diamond. A diamond is just a diamond. But what you need to do is uncover that diamond. What you need to do is you need to shave and cut that diamond so you can see its beauty. As a woman, if you are really struggling and you know when you're struggling with your femininity, the most important thing for you to understand is you were feminine from the beginning of time. It's just that through particular circumstances, the world, your femininity is covered. And today, I hopefully want to enable you to uncover that because you were a diamond from the beginning of time. You don't teach a diamond how to be a diamond, just as you don't teach a woman how to be feminine. People just need to understand how to uncover their femininity. I do want to share something personal with you. I recently went to a beauty appointment and the lady was particularly praising of my femininity. I often get this. People that interact with me say you're extremely feminine, but I didn't always used to be this way. I think I was 60% feminine because there's certain layers I had to uncover. So I'm coming from this episode as someone even who had a high level of femininity, still had to uncover some things. I'm going to share with you certain things that are going to enable you to move in the world in a more feminine way. And I promise you, if you want to become that girl, this is a superpower that you need to have. When you move in the world in a feminine way, it enables you to win. And on this earth, you must win. Let's get straight into it. Number 1, be still. Darlings, be still, be still, be still, be still, be still. If you are a woman whereby you love to be on the battlefield, you are a people's champions warrior for every good cause, you've got something to say, you're always fighting, you're always defending, you are in what I will call defense and aggressor mode, your femininity is going to be buried. One of the most beautiful things that I think I have learned with God is be still. I do not move for nothing in this world. And the other thing that when you learn to be still, your femininity would naturally radiate because you're at peace. You know, I don't need to, this argument, this battle is not mine. What does it say? Be still and know that I'm God. And I think the rest of it goes, this battle is not yours, for the Lord thy God is going to fight the battle for you. You need to assess in your life, whether it be in the workplace, whether it be in business, even with your husband, in a relationship. Shh. Be still. When I have got dramas that I need solving, I go to God first. And I am a woman of, I know I'm a professional yapper over here, but I'm actually a woman of very, very few words. Learning how to be still and just receive and you reject it will change your whole entire world. I want to share something about biology. God doesn't make mistakes. See the egg remains perfectly still. It's the sperm that does the work to chase. From the beginning of time, as a woman, the egg sits still. And this is not me saying be a lazy woman, no. I'm saying get yourself off the battlefield. Write down right now what battles that you are currently fighting that you have no business being on a battlefield. I get to sit in my pretty feminine la-di-da-di-da-di-da world because guess what? I do not partake in any battlefields. I don't care what life problems are thrown at me. Life is spiritual anyway, so you really genuinely, if you are fighting physical battles, you haven't learnt the number one rule that life is spiritual and there is no battle that you need to actually fight. Be still and let God be God. That's the first thing. Number 2, let me ask you this. When was the last time you asked for something as a woman? When was the last time you asked for something as a woman? Many women, unfortunately, their femininity is suppressed because of their inability to ask. What was the last thing you asked another person to do for you? Are you able to ask for your needs to be covered? And this is where God is so good. I tell you what, let me rephrase that question. When was the last time you asked your father for something? Because I'm telling you, I'm always asking God for stuff. I even asked God, if you watch the beauty basics, someone gave me a tip about doing home lashes. I asked God, can you teach me how to do this? Can you help me with this? Ask for the big things. Go and ask God for the G-Wagon. Go and ask God for another home. Go and ask God for a good meal. Go and ask God for your bills to be paid. If you start to ask your father for big and little things, go and ask God for a cleaner. Go and ask God to help you learn how to keep your baby plants alive. Ask God. Your inability to ask is your inability to receive. If you cannot receive, I promise you, on this earth, you are going to do a very, 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 very bad job of remaining in your feminine. Ask and you shall receive. But as a woman, if you are not good at even asking your father, who is in charge of all things, you will never, ever be good at asking people on this earth. Sometimes I say to myself, you do too much on this earth. You do too much, because I will ask because I've already asked God anyway, and God is in charge. So I've got no fear whatsoever to ask man. One of the things I really must say to you, everyone though, if you're asking human beings, before you ask a human being, ask God. God will then send you the human being that you can ask. If you want a particular contract deal, before you ask the person that you're in negotiation with, ask God, then ask the person. Life is spiritual, and you must follow spiritual order. Work in the spirit first, then do the work in the physical. That was a minor digression. So really challenge yourself to ask and ask and ask and ask. You cannot ask too much, because in asking, you are enabling yourself to learn to receive. And receiving is the most beautiful thing that you can put yourself in a position to be in as a woman. Number 3. When was the last time you found rest? When was the last time you found rest and joy and peace? Feminine women know how to rest, but this is what the world does. The world wants you to be a woman who is in hustle mode. Hustle mode is very different to the work of thy hands being diligent. When you find rest, when you learn how to find rest, that's what the world wants to steal from you. Because in stealing that from you, your femininity is going to be buried. Because a woman who can't be restful, a woman who can't find that peace, it just won't work. And the reason I say this, if you read the book of Ruth, Naomi is very, very deliberate with her words. She says to Ruth, you will go and find rest in your husband's house. Before you even have a physical husband, God is your number one husband. The church is the bride. You are part of the church. If you cannot find rest in God's house, you're going to find it very, very difficult to find rest in the world. It's going to be extremely difficult. The reality is, God does give you rest. It is down to you to be able to understand how to cultivate a space to allow yourself to have that rest. One of the things I always say is, if you can't find rest on the Sabbath, if there's not one day you can't switch off on, you're going to struggle. So start with that. Also, start with the beauty of, do you know what's so beautiful? What is so beautiful is to be able to do nothing but read the word. Just relax and bask with a little snack plate. For me, a non-alcoholic rosé. I'm not saying you shouldn't drink. You can drink. I don't find anything in the word that says don't drink. Whatever it is, that is restful. Doing absolutely nothing but sitting down, laying in bed, reading the word. You must be able to, or even going frolicking, dilly-dallying, doing absolutely nothing but enjoying life. And I don't mean shopping. Yes, that's pleasurable, but enjoying life, finding peace, soaking in the bath for 2 hours. Learn to find rest. This is so important for you to carve out as a woman. And if you find rest in God's house, guess what? You will not be one of those women when you go to your husband's house. You are the official workhorse. You are the live-in maid. That will not happen, because women who haven't found rest in God's house, I personally feel they put themselves on the back foot, because they end up in a man's house having to overperform. They're the cook, they're the cleaner, they're the everything. They're doing this, doing that. No. The word says find rest in your husband's house. Now, I'm not saying leave that house in a mess, but I'm saying you're not meant to be doing the absolute and uttermost, the most, just to prove that you're a wife. Number 4, learn to move slowly and speak slowly. I firmly believe you can tell when a woman is at peace in her feminine, at the rate at which she moves in the world, at the rate at which she speaks in the world. The word says, be slow to speak and quick to listen. There is a grace, there is just a natural feminine movement that comes with slowness. Where are you rushing to? Where are you rushing to when God is ahead of you? Where are you going to when God is ahead of you? That slowness prevents you from experiencing spiritual warfare. When you decide to rush ahead of God, disaster, because you're in front. You're the one that is going to catch the strays. On this earth, I personally decree and declare, before you ever see me on any battlefield, you've met my Father. You have met my Father in heaven, because you shall never, ever, ever see my face on any battlefield. I move so slowly. God's like, come on. Come on. He's got me by the hand saying, come on, pick up your pace. You know, like when you see a father hold his child's hand and they're walking, the father is ahead, the child is behind. Learn to move slowly, because that will just allow you to be in your feminine. That will also allow you, it's like deregulating your emotions from a high state of anxiety. I must move quickly. I must make decisions quickly. I promise you, the devil wants you to make decisions very quickly so that you can experience spiritual disaster. Always think about soul. If soul, even though it's not feminine, but if soul had the spirit of patience, that disaster would never have met him. So do learn to just move at a slow pace and let God be God. It will definitely uncover your femininity. I think this is number 5. We all know I can't count around here. This is number potentially 5. Emotions. It amazes me, and this is, I'm going to say, especially if you're a black woman listening to this, it amazes me the number of black women that can't cry. Take off that hardness. And I tell you what, get good at crying to God. So I definitely think there are many people who don't cry enough to God. I tell you what, if there is a moment anyone decides to mess with my inner peace, the first place I go to is I will go and cry to my Father. I will report you to my Father. Learn to express your emotions. Feminine is a woman who is in touch with her emotions. The Lord our God has already said from the beginning of time, he's going to hear the cry of the widows, the cry of the women, the orphans, cry to me. When he hears your cry, he will answer. You have got to be in a space where you can really be honest with God. Like I say to God, I'm angry right now. This is not good enough, especially because I know you are in charge of all things. I'm upset right now. I'm not happy right now. I remember once, I think this was about 4 or 5 years ago, I did a number on God. I really cried out. By the next morning, the problem was solved. By the next morning, the problem was solved. Learn to cry. Learn to express your emotions. I'm not saying be a crybaby in this earth. Absolutely no. But when you feel the emotion of actually you are upset, learn to express that to God. It will also enable you to be in your feminine, because you will be able to express yourself to others, especially in your relationship. That hardened heart is not going to get you anywhere. I feel upset. I feel unhappy. Cry. Cry if you must. And this starts with being able to express yourself with the Most High. Now, the last two, I think we're now on 6. If you want to uncover the femininity that's already within you, I think it's so important to do an assessment of your generational line. Because look at your mother. Is she a feminine woman? Is she feminine? Look at your grandmother. Is she a feminine woman? Both on the matriarchal and the patriarchal side of your bloodline. Because that is the very blood that's running through you right now. You cannot escape the bloodline. Let's just acknowledge that. So if your mother is a woman who comes from a matriarchal line of, I am on the battlefield, I have had to hold everything down. Darling, put everything down. Put everything down and ask your father for grace. Say, I'm putting everything down. I'm putting everything down and I'm restoring myself back to factory setting of being a woman at peace, a woman at ease, a woman at rest, a woman who is in her full feminine, a woman who is going to allow God and men on this earth to be men and is going to be still. This is so key. So look at what's happened in your generational bloodline. That is a clear indication of how you move on earth. Until you undo that, you will move exactly in the same way as your mother, as your grandmother, etc. Last but not least, I said earlier, I was at 60%. I don't like to come and share things, and I'm by no means perfect. I was at 60%. And I recognize I was at 60%. This is what I did to get to. I think I'm close to 100% now. I think I've uncovered all the hardness from the world. And the most important thing I did is I reset my spirit back to factory setting. Factory setting being the setting of God. Because it is very difficult for you to move in your feminine if you don't reset to factory setting. The world without you realizing has conditioned you to be rushing. The world without you realizing has conditioned you to be in hustle, go mode. The world without you realizing has conditioned you to be on every single battlefield. The world without you realizing has also conditioned you to not ask a lot. Not ask a lot for you to fix the problem. No. The moment I realized this, I said, God, we're going to have to reset me back to factory setting, because, we are too cute and too blessed to be running around like a masculine maniac. Absolutely not. So in resetting to factory setting, I remember exactly what I did. I actually started with the Proverbs. I would have read the Proverbs back to front every single morning. I don't know why I chose the Proverbs, but that's what I did. And life is, you are a spirit. You are a spirit, and what you take in by what you see, by what you read, by what you hear is affecting your factory setting. So I read the Proverbs. I would then read the Psalms, and we all know when you fast, not if you fast. And I took on fasting. No femininity coach, nobody on this earth can do what God does in order for you to restore what you originally were, because you originally were feminine. You can't teach what you are. What needs to happen is you need to give God space to uncover the mud, polish you up so that what you originally are, which is a diamond, is uncovered. So for me personally, that is the golden point. You can try and be still. You can try and rest. You can try and do all of that. Those are all really great. But the bonus is really about allowing God to reset you back to the original factory setting. Allowing God to say, look, the world put in some extra code in. This, and this. You don't need any of those extra coding because now the machine is doing something the machine wasn't meant to do. You were not meant to be doing these things. This is not how you were meant to move on earth as a woman. Egg sits still. Sperm moves. So I'm going to reset you back to the original. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else that you would add to my list in terms of uncovering your femininity, because I stand personally 10 toes down on every woman is feminine. It's just that the world hardens some women and that suppresses their femininity. So let me know in the comments if there are any tips, whether it be like actually just lock in every week, have a bubble bath. It could be anything from a small practical tip to read a particular scripture or do a particular thing. This is very, very key.